Hello and happy Wednesday to all of our fellow entrepreneurs out there. I am your boots on the ground host, Haley Demers. Today I am with the founders and owners of Workman USA. We have Ian and Eli White. They are some blue collar dudes from Lincoln, Nebraska, doing some really cool stuff. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
So as I was preparing for this podcast, I was so excited because your story is so interesting in the way that it just kind of happened when maybe you weren't expecting it to. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Would you say?
I would say out of the blue, really.
Yeah. So kind of looking back, how did the idea of Workman USA come to be?
Really, me and Ian, growing up, we always, we're kind of doing jobs, like odd jobs around the house, stuff like that. And then it came to one day we were just in the backyard and we were like, we're a couple blue collar boys. And then we're like, maybe we should turn some of these jobs we do into like a t-shirt or design, something like that. And then so I know it kind of just started from there.
Yeah, it really just spun off. We were just working in the backyard one day and we kind of just came up with the idea where it's like, we're just a couple blue collar boys putting in our work out here, and from there it kind of spun into what kind of ideas could we make something out of this? Are there other people that are going to emulate kind of with us, and can we turn that into something, a design that we can share with other people?
Right. So really quick before we go into more of Workman and how it all began, what advice would you have for entrepreneurs who are in that stage where they're like, okay, I'm trying to come up with an idea. I know who I am. I know where I'm at, but I just can't land on an idea.
Yeah. Our idea came to us out of the blue. It's just something where I think you always have to be looking, always kind of trying to find that next thing or trying to find something that inspires you, it drives your passion. And when you find that thing, you're going to know, and you just got to go with it and just hit the ground running.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to add on that, I would say, because we came into it and we didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, we've never owned a clothing brand or anything like that. We kind of just jumped into it, kind of like he said. Like, I would just hit the ground. If you have an idea, just jump and go for it.
Just start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's one thing here in Angler we just emphasize to students is just start, just take that first step. So what advice would you have for someone in taking, okay, now that I have the idea, where do I go next? How do I actually start?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for us, it was just research. We got into it. We said, okay, we have our initial idea. How do we go and capitalize on that right away? And so, we just kind of outlined some initial ideas that we had. Okay, we want to start putting stuff on shirts. Where do we source the shirt from? How do we do it in the most cost-effective way, so we can make money to buy more inventory and buy more shirts? And so we kind of looked at it like that, of like, let's research it, find out, strategize a game plan, and then kind of move from there.
Did you initially have like that target customer right off the bat that you're like, this is who I'm looking for?
I would say I think we did, just kind of when we had the idea of what the brand was going to be. I think that we kind of found what our niche is per se, and then we had our customers right there and we knew who we wanted to try and market to. So from that aspect, it's easy to try, and when you have that kind of clear path of like the customers that you want to market to, it's a lot easier to try and figure out, the correct path to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now that we kind of talked about the idea and the start, walk me through, how did Workman USA actually start? Because you've been around for 6 months?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep, right at 6 months.
Right at 6 months, which is insane. So go back to the beginning and tell us how it actually started in the backyard and what came after that.
Yeah, sure. We were just working in the backyard one day, probably picking up dog crap or something, for helping our parents out, something like that. And Eli and I were just kind of talking, and we had actually kind of been messing around with each other, and we were just a couple blue-collar boys, just trying to get stuff done. And from there, it just kind of spun off into us talking about, what is a blue-collar boy? What is this idea, Because we always kind of wanted to get into business somehow, and I think that idea just kind of springboarded us into, okay, let's launch into that.
Mm. Yeah, we were, like you said, interested in business, but more specifically, I feel like we were really both more interested in kind of the e-commerce side of business. I know Ian especially, he was obviously really big into computers. He knew a lot about that. And then on the other side of it, we had our dad who owns a physical business. So he's kind of like been a mentor for us our whole life.
Yeah.
And I think stemming from the backyard, probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 days later, we were just in Ian's room in the basement, both had our computers out, and we were looking up designers on Fiverr.
Yep.
To just get a design going for us.
That's crazy. So I heard on another interview that person's from Indonesia.
That's right.
Right? I was in Indonesia a couple months ago, but how do you trust that person? Like that's a hard thing to be able to trust somebody with building your brand. How did you gain trust with that person?
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of, it was funny at first when we did it, we actually reached out to like 3 or 4 different designers, and we kind of gave them our idea, and we said, okay, this is the first design we want to run with. And so we got different designs from all of them, and then we kind of picked and choose, okay, this is the one we like the most. We feel it kind of fixes on exactly what we want our brand to represent. And so from there, we kind of talked to him. We had some one-on-one conversations with him and told him, we want to build this with you. Would you be willing to work with us? And he said yes. And so from there, we've kind of built this trusted relationship where, we give him our idea, we'll kind of sketch it out, how we want it, what kind of sayings we want to put on the designs. And then from there, we kind of give that to him. He polishes it up. He actually does the design. And then from there, we handle the rest of the production in terms of actually putting it on clothing and t-shirts and stuff like that.
Nice. So what was the actual first design you guys came out with? The first one?
So the first one would have been, I believe it was throw and chain.
Yep, throw and chain.
For oil field workers.
Yep. Well, roughnecks on oil rigs, yeah.
Was there meaning behind why you started that one?
Honestly, I think on my TikTok For You page, at the time, I had a ton of videos coming up with them, throwing the chain around it.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, is I think that we saw a video and we thought this is really cool, and we felt, if this is one design that we could kind of incorporate our brand into, it would be a good segue to kind of launch us into the next thing and see if it actually works. And so from there, we came up with that design. We reached out to the designers. They made it for us. We chose the one we wanted. And then from there, after we had that, we said, okay, let's come up with a few more designs so we don't just have one design on our store.
Right. So the initial launch was you did Facebook first.
Right.
How did that first couple months go for you?
The first couple months was rough. Our official start date as a business, I believe, was August 26th of 2022. And so from there, after we had our initial design ideas and we had incorporated as a business, as an LLC, we decided, okay, let's go ahead and try and market. Let's try and make some money. So Eli and I threw a couple $100s at it in terms of like the artwork and the advertising costs and kind of making some ads with graphics that Eli and I did ourselves. And so we hit Facebook and we tried to get any traction that we could, and we didn't have anything there. And so we just kind of sat back to ourselves and we said, well, this isn't working. What can we do and how can we overcome the problem that we're having right now? And so we kind of just went back to the drawing board for a few months just because we didn't have any success.
Right. That's a tough spot to be in. How did you keep going, and what kept that idea of this, I want to market for the blue collar industry? Like, how did you keep going?
I think for us, like kind of back to what we said earlier, when we wanted to hit the ground running, we definitely had that fire to keep it going. Obviously, about a month, we kind of gave it up. But then when we came back to it, we thought, this is a really good. We really believed in ourselves. We thought it was a really good idea. And then back to what our business is based on. We really felt that the blue collar community in their specific trades needed to be represented. So kind of just that fire.
Yeah, I mean, Eli and I had multiple conversations over the course of when our Facebook ads didn't work about how can we just possibly get back into this, because we knew we had something, or at least we felt like we did, and we felt that this is an underrepresented portion of America. It really is. I mean, the people who make up the blue collar workforce are truly the backbone of this country, and we wanted to do what we could to kind of represent them, and we just knew we had something, and so I mean, from there, I think that we just kept going. I mean, we just had to move on from there. So,
was there a different vision at the time? You started off, you're still doing apparel. At the time, did you envision it growing into something different?
Yeah, I mean, we had initially thought that our work to death line that we kind of springboarded everything from was going to be our only, not our only thing, but a limited edition run. We weren't going to do more of it. We were going to potentially branch off into, something with a different design that didn't feature skeletons or that didn't feature, something like that. But, I don't think we ever could have imagined it's grown what it's, become. And I mean, yeah.
I mean, I think with the Work to Death line, we kind of just rolled with the punches. Our community really enjoyed the designs, and we listened to them, and then we just kept rolling with it, and now it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, when we first started, after we had our initial release and our Facebook ads didn't go very well, when we went back to the drawing board, we actually approached our family and we kind of showed the designs to them. I mean, Eli and I have a lot of friends who work in blue-collar trades. Our family members work in blue-collar trades. And so we kind of went back to them, and they actually helped us launch our business in a way, because we sold some of our initial designs to them, and they really helped us grow. Because when we first started, Eli and I came up with the plan to use print on demand. So print on demand is when an order comes in for a design. That design will then be sent to a random print manufacturer across the country. They'll print the design on that t-shirt, and then they'll handle shipping it out and sending it. So you don't have that cost of having to order in bulk, for example, order 1,000 t-shirts from a printing supplier here in Lincoln, or having to warehouse those or inventory them. There's none of that. It's all essentially, you just have the designs, you pass it off to the supplier, and then they handle the fulfillment process. And so that's a more expensive price for sure, just because of that, but that kind of is what helped us springboard it. And so our initial our very first sales to our family and friends was print on demand.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you have for someone, because this is honestly something I'm struggling with, of how do you determine when it's the right time to do print on demand versus keeping all of that inventory for yourself and actually, doing the work and having to be the person who's packaging it and mailing it? When do you determine if it's a good time to move from inventory to print on demand process?
I mean, I'd say we're very blessed in how it happened. When the print on demand process, we were initially going to run with that as long as we could, until we felt we were at a point where we could move on to having to actually work with suppliers and get inventory printed and get designs, made here or, made overseas, whatever we were going to do. And what had kind of happened is around November 28th of 2022, a friend of mine had sent me a TikTok video, and this TikTok video just was a bunch of t-shirts, and I think the video had 30,000 views or something like that, and a bunch of likes, because they had these crazy obnoxious sayings on them or something like that.
You were in Cancun, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I can do that. Mm-hmm. And so what I did is I took our designs, and the ones we'd come up with so far, and I put them on a TikTok, and I just pushed it out there with the world. And the very first image that was on the screen was just a text message from my friend, and it said, "Hey man, did you see what gift I'm getting my dad for Christmas?" or something like that. And so if you swiped on it, it was just a swipe image TikTok video, it would show you the designs, And that video, I think within the first I would say 2 days had gotten over, I think over 800,000 views or something like that, like 30,000 likes.
Oh my gosh.
And from there, that's kind of what springboarded us into the next thing, where it's like, okay, how the heck are we going to do this? Like, all of this inventory, we can't print on demand. That's, at that point, that was our determining factor. It's like, if we're trying to go from print on demand to going to a, actually inventory and a fulfillment process, this would be the time to do it. Because when you're having that many orders come in and getting dispatched to random distributors across the country, that's an issue in terms of quality. What if somebody uses a different ink color, somebody uses a different material, somebody uses a different printing method,
with your brand.
right? Yeah, it undermines the value of your brand, essentially. And so from that point, that's where we had that decided, okay, what can we do to, as many orders as we have flooding in right now, how can we capitalize on this and reach out to a manufacturer here in the local area to help us, capitalize and get our orders out the door.
Right. That's really interesting. What was your take when that first initial video came out and you're like, oh crap, I think we just dug ourselves a hole?
Yeah, I was actually, because I think that was a Thursday when it really blew up. I was in class all day, and I had my computer out, and I had my Shopify store pulled up, and I was just watching everything. And I know Ian said he was watching it and he was shaking. Yeah. Like he said he couldn't feel his hands. But yeah, I was in class. I didn't really learn anything that day, obviously. I was just watching it, watching the live numbers. I think we had around 200, 250 plus people on the site.
Yeah,
Like
throughout the whole
one
day.
time. Throughout
Did the
whole
website
day.
crash?
No, it didn't. It scaled really well.
Good.
So it was good. Yeah, I mean, throughout the entire day, we had probably 200 to 250 people. At peak times, like we know now, just based on when people come to the site, our peak traffic hours are going to be around lunchtime or around dinner time. So right there, that's when you have the most people on the site. And we were very fortunate about when we released the video and when it picked up, it was around lunchtime. And so, I think that it was just some algorithmic luck in a way that kind of gave us this opportunity.
So it was that first TikTok video where success kind of was found?
Yeah, I would definitely say so.
Right. And so then after that first TikTok video, what did you do next? Because now you have all these orders flooding in. What did you do?
Yeah, I mean, so we had I think we had 1,500 orders come in that day or over the course of those 3 days. So it was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, on Friday, when we had a huge, a bunch of orders come in, we decided, okay, we got to do something about this. Well, that Monday, I was leaving to go to Cancun. So I didn't know what to do. We were panicking because how the heck are we going to get this many orders out the door as quickly as possible? And so we were very, very fortunate that our dad actually had moved into a building that used to be owned by Shirts 101 here in Lincoln. And so Shirts 101, we kind of had a relationship built with them just through my dad who had purchased their old building. And so from that gave us an opportunity to reach out to somebody else here in Lincoln that could help us over the weekend and going into next week, get all these orders out the door as quickly as possible. I believe we printed 6 different designs, 4 to 6 different designs, all in different colors. And so, there were thousands, and we had to start inventorying right away. And I, of course, left on Monday. So,
I think Rick, he's the owner of Shirts 101. He took it and he's like, yeah, sure, we got it. And then you get, probably 3 or 4 days into it, and he's like, what did I get myself into?
What did I do?
Because we just had so much coming in. And I think eventually we had to buy folding tables, and we had their whole workspace filled with just our stuff.
Right.
And then it ended up having to be, because Ian was in Cancun, they didn't have enough fulfillment workers. So I think I was there, our whole family was there really, and then some of my roommates from college had to come help us fold and package orders.
Yep.
That is a true story of in entrepreneurship when something happens that you're not expecting, but you got to be put your boots to the ground and get out there and do the work. How has that relationship with Shirts 101 and maybe Rick, how has that really made your business what it is today?
Yeah, I mean, Rick's been great. He is able to adapt, and with whatever we throw at him. Really, I mean, they've been absolutely wonderful. I mean, we ran into a thing where when I had originally left to go to Cancun, we had scheduled a release of a couple more designs, which probably wasn't the best idea, but we wanted to capitalize on all the traffic we were getting. And so we released another 2 videos that featured, I believe it was another 3 to 4 designs all at one time. And those designs, again, were in different colors. And so, I mean, you take 2, it was an absurd amount for them to be trying to catch up on. And we just absolutely buried them with orders. I mean, there was so many orders that came flooding in that we started to panic because we were worried that a lot of people that were ordering these for Christmas. It was November going into December, and people were just like, how am I going to get my product before the holidays? And, we had people messaging us, when is this going to ship? Just because it just happened so quickly that we couldn't, get all those orders out the door. And so, I mean, from there, we kind of determined, okay, we're going to have a hard cutoff date of December 12th. And on December 12th, no more orders are going to come in. We're not going to be able to guarantee that those will get out the door before Christmas. And so from there, I mean, they've just been great of being able to, take whatever we throw at them and, help us build our brand based off that.
Right, and that's so important. It's amazing that you had that relationship built with them. I think it's a blessing in disguise that you started with an initial Facebook. That was your initial launch, and you had all these ideas and different designs, but I think that really prepared you for that TikTok launch, that you all had those designs and you had the time to really work with those. So how did How has your dad, because I know he's been an influential person in y'all's life, how has he played a role as an entrepreneur in your all's life, and how do you think that's had an impact on you, on who you are today?
I think even outside of entrepreneurship, he has definitely always pushed us in a direction where he tells us never to quit. If we have something that we're passionate about, go for it, especially not in entrepreneurship, like I said. Whether it's school, whether it's a sport, anything like that, whatever you're passionate about, really go for it.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, Dad's he's always been pushing us to do our best, Same with our mom, they're both telling us, you can do anything you set your mind to, you just got to go out there and put in the work. And, for us, this was just having Dad and having Mom both as mentors in this, and kind of, guiding us on what to do, not only in business but in life, is just extremely important. And it's great to have those mentors there to help you kind of, follow your path in a sense.
Yeah. If you all could say one thing to yourselves when you were first in that yard coming up with the idea, what would you say to yourselves?
Oh man,
Get ready.
Yeah, get ready. Lock in.
A lot of late nights.
A lot of late nights. There's a lot of times where, we've worked till 12, 1 in the morning trying to get orders out the door just to get them out in time for people. It's just something that you just can't prepare for, really. Yeah.
That's awesome. So how has the traction kind of been recently for you all since that initial launch you guys went through? You made it through Christmas.
Yep.
How has it been since then?
Yeah, I would say, what we decided to do after our Christmas launch, and what it kind of led us into that, is we need to cut down on how many colors we're doing. We're going to have so much money wrapped up in inventory, a lot of money wrapped up in t-shirts and in cotton, that we need to cut that. And so what we decided to do is we took all of our designs, we took the most popular selling colors, and we immediately trimmed our inventory down and said, okay, once we sell out, say the black color was more popular, once we sell out of the white t-shirt color, then what we're going to do is we're just not going to continue making that one, and we're just done. And so from there, we decided we need to have an actual plan of what we can do to continue to grow our brand, as well as make it as, I would say, as business profitable as we can, make the most of what we're trying to capitalize on to help continue allowing us to grow. And so we looked at it as, okay, let's come up with a marketing plan now to continue to grow, because we think that we found kind of a proven path of success in a way with, the marketing with the TikTok ads. And so we had we settled on, okay, let's release a new design every week, or a new design every 2 weeks. And when we do that, we feel like that we're continuously engaging with our audience and engaging with our customers, and bringing them back to our website and bringing them back to see, what is the new design? Is it going to be my trade? Is it going to be my friend's trade? Maybe I can share it with them, right? And so from there, we kind of have this cascading effect of people that are coming back and are constantly engaged with us, and which is super powerful, because we don't have to go and spend a bunch of ad money to try and capture them again. We're kind of building that effect of, they're going to just keep coming back.
Right.
And then the great thing about using e-commerce and TikTok is the comment section. Mm-hmm. So we're not, what designs should we do this week? We can go in there, say like plumbers, which is a design we've released. Like I want a plumber. Day, we have a guy who's, I don't even know what number he's on. Day, number, blah blah blah. Yeah, of asking for this design. Yeah. So we're never, just out in the blue. We always know what we're going to do next based on our fan base. Yeah,
we really try to listen to the customers, listen to what their suggestions are. We'll have guys who will send us in pictures of their stuff and be like, you guys got to put my truck on a shirt, or you guys got to do this, right? And so we're not actively having to go out and trying to think, okay, well, what are we going to do, or something like that. We have all these people who are giving us their ideas, which is extremely powerful, because by listening to them and getting their feedback all in one place, it allows us to kind of set up a path of what we're going to follow, and then capitalize on that, and capitalize on that momentum to be able to propel us forward.
So those people that are commenting and that just absolutely love your brand, have you gotten any, letters in the mail or messages that really have just kept you going?
We had 1, 2, 2.5 weeks ago maybe. It was a wife, and she emailed us, and she said, my husband tells me to check back every single week. I don't even remember what job he did, but he tells me to check back every single week. It's driving me crazy.
Please release
release this. Sincerely, wife trying to keep her sanity.
Yeah. I mean, we've gotten a few messages like that for sure, where people are just, I mean, it's really cool to hear, from them, and, they'll be like, oh, I told my buddy about this. It's so cool. We got a video from a couple guys down south, and they had said that all of their guys on the construction site are wearing our high-vis gear now. So they got, not only that one guy got it, and then from there, all the other guys like, where'd you get that? And so from there, all those guys get in. So now we've got a whole job site who's just wearing our stuff. I mean, it's really cool.
I used to work at a co-op, and a lot of the guys that work there, a lot of our truck drivers and everything, oh my gosh, they would eat this stuff up, 100%. So kind of looking back though at like TikTok, who creates those TikToks, and how do you stay creative in making those?
Yeah, I mean, I do all of the TikTok videos. So the very first couple of videos we did, again, were like swipe through image videos. So I kind of look at it algorithmically, actually, and trying to like figure out what gets the most people's attention and what we can do to capture them. And so at that point in time, it was people swiping through the images. You have a catchy image that immediately, it's an eye grabber, it stops their attention, and then from there, now they're swiping through and looking at stuff. And that's kind of how we did it at first. And now it's kind of segued into, as we're building this, what can we do to catch their attention? And so we've done a few different videos of like guys that are on the job sites that do something like dumb. So for example, there was one of a forklift driver who was driving and the forklift tipped forward, right? And then we had some music in the background, and then it was like, and then it just immediately popped on screen with our designs. And so I kind of call it, guerrilla advertising in a way, or like forced advertising, because it's like they aren't expecting it, and then all of a sudden it's right in their face, and we've already captured their attention. Because that, a lot of people, when they look at our designs, for example, our land pipe design, right, as like this cheeky saying for pipeline workers, right, it's not only the initial first video that captures their attention, but when they see us saying like that, they're like, what is that, right? And so we've already captured their attention. And then even if we can only keep them on the video for the first 10 seconds just to get them to click on it, I mean, we've caught their attention, and now we can build something off that and try and convert that into a sale, essentially.
That's so awesome. I did hear one of our students this morning, when I was mentioning that you all were coming, she goes, oh my gosh, every time I'm on TikTok, their ads always pop up for me. I love their shirts, though. They're so funny. So I can definitely see that the TikTok game is working for you all. And I was on it this morning, just looking through it again before I met with you all today. And it's just crazy to see the amount of views that you all have had, and that algorithm really worked for you. Did you anticipate that algorithm working for you? And what advice would you have for someone trying to get in the TikTok algorithm and to catch views and to catch people?
I think for us, obviously, we're both younger dudes. We've used TikTok. The great thing about it is, with the algorithm, everything shows up on your For You page. So you could see other t-shirt brands doing this type of ad. It's working for them because you can see how many views they have, how many likes they get, all their engagement. And so we kind of looked at it as, why can't we do that? And then we kind of just rolled with it, made an ad, essentially kind of just like that, because the algorithm loves similar videos.
Content, similar music. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we did, is we just kind of pulled inspiration from what we had seen other videos, had gone viral, or other videos that had kind of gained traction. And from there, that's kind of what pushed us. I mean, we're kind of, and I think now our ads are kind of in a category of their own, because we actually have people comment, I love your guys' ads, which is really strange, because when you think of an advertisement, like you think of Pepsi, it's like, do you really love the ad? But we're actually like having people come in and saying, I love what you guys are doing to promote your content. And so it's just that first couple, seconds of the eye-catching video that I think is just what's getting people to stay, and then getting people to kind of, fall in love with our brand, essentially.
The ads, just, they're so good, and they're just so funny. So you all are doing amazing there. But to take a little bit of a turn, what's something that both of you individually have had to learn through the start of this business?
I mean, I would say that I never thought I was going to be in the clothing business. I never thought that I would have anything to do with clothing. I never was, I wasn't necessarily inspired by it in any way. And now that this has grown into such a thing, I mean, I find myself wanting to know, like, what different materials are in shirts, what our different colors are, different pigments, for example. I mean, when we did our first run of T-shirts, we used an 80-20 blend of cotton and polyester. And when you do that, you have such a high blend of cotton, you're prone to shrinkage issues. And so after our first initial run, that was one of the problems that we ran into that we had to overcome was, we had shrinkage and people were complaining to us. And so we had to pivot and say, okay, we apologize. What we're going to do is if you are experiencing shrinkage issues, we had a few people where we sent them a free replacement that was a size bigger just to kind of ease that over. But then, we decided, what can we do to prevent this going forward? And so, now we're using, I believe it's a 60-40 blend of cotton and polyester just to prevent those shrinkage problems. And so that's one of the things that I never thought that I would be all that particular about, but that's, become a thing for me.
Right.
I would say, kind of the same thing. I actually just ordered a sweatshirt from an influencer, and it came in yesterday. And I caught myself looking at the tag, and I was like, oh, they use this blank. And my roommate's like, dude, what are you doing?
No.
Like, what are you looking at the tag for? I was like, oh, well, I just wanted to see what they're using. But then on the other side of that, I think for me, I've really learned how to balance my social life, school, everything like that with the business. And that's been a really big learning point for me. And I think it's really important because a lot of people don't learn that until they're out of college. It's definitely been a learning thing for me again, obviously, because my friends, they'll go out at night or something, like, oh, sorry, I got to go to the shop tonight, and then I'll be, we'll be there till 1 a.m. fulfilling orders and stuff while they're maybe out partying or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. And yet that I actually have this question written down specifically for you is because we have a lot of students in our program, and I remember even myself when I was in this program trying to run a business, and let's be realistic, we're college students and tests are hard and you got to study, but having a business and we really push. I mean, we've had students leave college to go run their business full time. What advice do you have for the students who are doing college and who are trying to run a business?
I would say, again, just really get your priorities straight. What's important to you? Because, like, for me, obviously school is really important. Again, my parents really pushed the idea of, you really need your degree. That's another thing they instilled in all of us. But, I mean, if you have something, just roll with it. Know your priorities. Learn how to balance it. So just like that.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So next, I want to kind of talk about like the execution part, because sometimes when people have this idea, it's like, how do I actually execute on it? So what advice do you have for people who are trying to execute their idea?
Yeah, I mean, for us, the execution was, we have the idea, research, and then now we're at a point where what can we do to get this in the hands of people as quickly as possible? And so for us, our research pointed us to print on demand. That was the most cost-effective solution for us. We didn't have to lock up a bunch of money into inventory, and we were able to kind of go off that. And then from there, once we had that established, now we're getting into advertising and marketing. So I think figuring out the product that you want and the product that you're going to go with is that's your whole business, so that's the very first thing that you should do is get set on that, figure out what you want to do. From there, develop it in a good way, and then continue, and then you break out into marketing, and then you really try and execute and try to acquire those customers. I mean, some people, if you even have a prototype idea and you're just trying to pitch it people, maybe to gain some startup interest, for example, that's just as powerful too, and trying to make those connections to be able to break out into the community and continue to grow your business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say, research. We were, like I said earlier, sitting in the basement, and when we both had our computers out, I think we were probably both watching, how-to videos on YouTube. Mm-hmm. That's like, again, the great thing about the internet is if you want to start a business, pull up YouTube, how to do this. So we were, how to start a clothing brand.
Yeah.
Pointed us to Fiverr, branched off, looked at Fiverr, like you said, branched off print on demand, and then you kind of just spider web out what's next.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, from there, I mean, that was our very good starting point for us of learning how other people did it, or other people that started off. And then from there, it's now grown into its own thing where we've actually hired our very first graphic designer. We have a graphic designer on staff for us now. And now we're looking at getting product manufactured overseas. Not necessarily, we're still going to print the designs here in the United States, but we want to give that same kind of quality and feel, having our own custom branded hoodie, for example, like Carhartt, right? And so we wanted to do our own kind of things. And so now we're in the process of working with manufacturers overseas where we're not having to actually use blank hoodies from another manufacturer, but we are now becoming our own independent brand in a sense. We're eliminating that middleman and having to purchase blanks from somebody like Gildan. And so now we're our own separate entity, and that just helps grow the validity of your brand and continue to improve upon it, I think.
Right. So is it true that you guys bought out all the black sweatshirts in the U.S.?
In the Midwest, yeah.
In the Midwest, you bought out every single black hoodie?
That's right, yeah. When our first designs went viral, they were mostly on black hoodies. And so we took every single black hoodie that was in stock in this local area to try and get our designs out the door.
I think they overnighted it from
Texas, I think. I think they had to overnight it all the way down from Texas so they could get it more stock back up here.
That is just crazy. What was going through your all's head when that happened?
Crazy. It's a lot of sweatshirts.
Yeah, it's a lot of sweatshirts. A lot of sweatshirts.
When they arrive, you're like, how am I going to deal with all these?
Yeah. How are we gonna fold all these and package all of them is the main thing.
Right.
I mean, I didn't have to deal with that. I was in Cancun, but
a lot of folding.
Yeah.
I'm sure you had some anxiety being away from it that you're like, I gotta get that.
Yeah, I really did. I mean, I was in Cancun, I think, for 5 or 6 days, and that whole time, I mean, I was on my computer, I was watching the sales, I was interacting with people's comments. I actually had it set up so we had a Google Voice phone number, and so people would call that support line, it would ring to my phone directly, and I would be talking to people, while I'm sitting on the beach, being like, yeah, we're working on it, we're getting your order out the door, stuff like that. So.
It sounds like you're partying.
Yeah.
That's funny. So what's another really big success you all have had in the last couple months that's been really, really exciting?
I think the most exciting thing for me is we had the opportunity to sponsor a NASCAR driver, Spencer Boyd. We just got back
from Las Vegas on March 6th. March, something like that, yeah. We got back around the 6th or the 8th, something.
Yeah, so that was a really cool experience. First time we've ever actually been to a NASCAR race.
Yeah.
And we, got to have our logo on the back of his car, on the back deck plates.
Yeah.
And first time being in a NASCAR race, we got to be in the pits.
Yeah.
So it was a really, really awesome experience.
Yeah. I mean, it was really cool. He had reached out to us just because he'd seen us on social media and really liked our mission of our brand and kind of what we were trying to do. And so he was like, I'd love to have you guys on my car. And we said, well, heck yeah, we'll go on your car. We want to be on your car. We'd never thought we'd be on a NASCAR,
right.
Anything like that. And so, he reached out to us. We worked up a deal with him, and now he repped our gear. And then we went down to Las Vegas, and we went to the racetrack, and we actually got to be down in the pits watching the race. We had these VIP access where we were meeting all types of race car drivers, all types of guys. I mean, seeing what actually has happened on race day. I mean, that was a surreal experience.
Wow, you guys went from working in the backyard to the pits of a NASCAR race.
Yeah.
Wow, that is incredible. So with that, has that opened any doors since then for you?
I would say that we've talked to a few different influencers, affiliate marketing people, who we can reach out to continue to grow the brand through their following. And so also from that, we've talked to Spencer specifically about, being one of our very first people to collaborate with, where, we might do a design that's specifically for him or specifically for NASCAR. And then, that allows us to, build our brand off his audience, but also help continue to grow his campaign and his fan base, essentially. And so that's kind of what we've looked at, is we've had opportunities where people have reached out to us, whether they be celebrities or athletes, and they've kind of asked us, can you do something with us, and how can we capitalize on that? I mean, we have an event going on here this summer that we were asked to sponsor a lineman rodeo down in Montana, and they actually wanted us to design their shirts for their team of like 30 people.
Wow.
So it's stuff like that where opportunities we probably never would have thought would have happened to us. It's kind of fallen in our laps. I mean, we're very grateful for that, and it's been a surreal experience in that regard as well.
Yeah. Y'all talk about the NASCAR, and I'm already picturing it in my head, like that pit crew and then some funny saying that's just super catchy. I already can picture it.
Yeah.
So since everything has happened, where are you at today, and kind of what are like your next steps? You know, not everybody you can't picture what's going to happen in the next 6 months. And I'm sure you didn't realize that 6 months ago, but if you had to envision the next 6 months, what would you say?
I would say we're looking at it from how we can continue to grow our brand and improve our brand from the standpoint, and how we're trying to prepare for the summer, most of all. So what you have to look at, and what we've learned over the course of the last few months just being in business, is custom ordering product from overseas. You know, it's going to take 3 or 4 months for them to make, or a couple months for them to make it, and then, you know, a couple months for it to get here. So we're looking at 3 to 4 months, for example, to get a bunch of hoodies in from, you know, Pakistan or China or something like that, you know, where they're making those products for you. And so because of that, we found it figured out, okay, you know, summer's coming around the door. We're not going to be selling any hoodies. So we're mostly going to have to pivot to, okay, how are we going to get t-shirts out the door, quit advertising our hoodies, instead switch to t-shirts, and then as well prepare for the winter. So we're not only having to look ahead 3 to 4 months, but we're having to look ahead 6 to 8 months to try and plan, you know, okay, this is going to be the design we're going to release on the colors, and we're actively trying to have to predict what we're going to do, just so we can hit the main points of, like, you know, growing the brand that way and making sure that we're doing the right thing at the right time. Because I mean, if we don't, you know, we could potentially fall behind or not be able to grow our customer base as much.
Right. It's really smart that you all are developing that strategy already, because, I mean, 6 months happens fast. And especially for you all being in more of like the apparel and clothing side, like Mother's Day, Father's Day, you know, hitting those big holidays is so important, especially for your business, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at, we've looked at Memorial Day and Veterans Day about how we can do a design specifically for veterans or something along those lines. And so we're actively trying to look at those holidays like Independence Day, you know, 4th of July, all of those things we're looking at as a point of where we can run sales in our design, sure, or give veterans discounts. You know, we actually do run an active discount for veterans on our store right now. But what we can do to like hit that point and just continue to grow that way. I mean, it's important to be able to like feed off those holidays to allow you to grow your brand.
Right. Smart. So next question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you guys like working with each other?
I'd say probably 10.
Probably 10. I don't think we ever had any issues.
Yeah,
We've never fought about anything. Or
yeah, it's really nice, you know, going into business with your brother, especially being as close as we are.
Yeah.
Right. That stems into my next question of being partners and being brothers. You spend so much time together. How do you navigate setting healthy boundaries?
I don't think we've ever even thought about that, to be honest. I feel like we've always just gotten along really well.
I don't think we've ever really had an argument. I mean, if we were to get an argument about something, I mean, it's usually easily resolved. I mean, you know,
might yell at each other like really quick, and then it'll probably be over in
a couple minutes.
Yeah, a couple minutes.
Yeah. I mean,
that is impressive because I can't say I could do a business with my brother. Next question, what do you want to say to the blue-collar workers out there that could be listening to this right now? What do you want to say to them?
I mean, I'd say thank you for everything you do. I mean, like I said earlier, every single blue-collar worker is the backbone of this country. I mean, they make up such a crucial part of our economic system, our utilities, our manufacturing. I mean, every single the reason that the world keeps turning is because of those guys. And, you know, without them, I mean, we wouldn't be where we're at. I mean, you can't have a robot try and plumb somebody's house. You know, you can't have a robot. You know, those guys are so crucially important. You know, the guys that build houses, they build homes, they maintain millwrights, you know, plumbers. I mean, all those guys they're crucial to what we do. And, you know, we thank them for allowing us to help represent them and you know, continue to show their support for their trade. And we're just really appreciative of all that they do for the world.
Yeah, I feel like you guys are making being a blue-collar person like ourselves cool.
Yeah.
Cool again.
Yeah.
And that's what's important. So last question I have for you all is, how can the angler and entrepreneurial community support you right now and where you're at with your business?
I would say probably just word of mouth.
Yeah.
We really want to get our brand out there, the idea of representing blue collar out there, just support.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'd like to continue to go out that way, word of mouth. We'd like to be in contact with more news organizations as well, just to help spread our message and how important it is. I mean, we're in the process of, we'd like to start a nonprofit for blue-collar tradesmen, where we're taking a portion of our sales. Our sales are going to go back into that nonprofit, and then we'd like to donate to the high school programs or college programs like at SCC to help, get people to join the trades. I mean, there's a lack of workers right now, and it's hurting the economy just because it's hard finding guys who want to do the work, and we want to inspire people to join the trades. I mean, my shop teacher when I was in high school, he pushed me every single day, and he pushed a lot of guys where he's like, you should join a trade. I mean, they're important and they're crucial, and you can make good money. You don't have to go to college, right? I mean, some people, that's their path to go to college. Some people, it's their path to be in a trade. There's nothing wrong doing either. And I think that, a lot of times people think that blue-collar workers are looked down on, which is just unfortunate because that's not the case, and that shouldn't be the case. And so it's just really important that, we're continuing to spread our message and do what we can to, share theirs as well.
Wow, that is incredible. I never connected the dots that you all are not only giving these people a voice, but you're making it so that way it's an industry that when you look at it, there's not a lot of workers, and everyone's wondering, where did all the workers go since after the pandemic? But you guys are connecting that dot and making it almost cool again to be a blue-collar person, and that it's okay. You don't have to have a huge entire dream to make a difference in this world.
That's right.
So that is incredible. I never connected the dots, so thank you so much for doing that. Any last words of wisdom or advice for our entrepreneurs out there?
Just chase your dream. Just keep going every single day. Find that fire and just chase it.
Yeah, I would say kind of just back to what we said at the beginning, just jump right into it.
Yep.
Hit the ground running.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. It has been so cool to interview you all. I know that there's a lot of people who are so excited about what you're doing and what you've done in the last 6 months. So congratulations on starting, executing, and following a dream that was instilled with you since you were a boy from your dad. It is amazing to see it, and I'm so glad that you all have coaches and mentors and partners and Shirts 101 to help you support. And I hope you know that our community is behind you and everything that you are doing. So thank you for all you're doing, and thanks for being on the podcast today.
Thank you very much for having us.